behind some of the fantastic exhibits you've got at this exhibition, you've also got some original Borley Rectory items, haven't you? Could you talk a little bit about them?
Yeah, we were really excited that we could borrow some items from Harry Price's own archive, which is now at Senate House Library. And I really wanted to focus on Borley Rectory in the exhibition because partly a section of the exhibition is about hauntings, and it looks at the ways in which in the 20th century people got more interested in the scientific explorations of real life hauntings and how that affected ghost stories. And Borley itself actually had a really big impact on literature in the 20th century, and there's a few things that were kind of influenced or based on the story.
Right. Specifically things like Shirley Jackson.
Yeah.
The haunting of Hill House.
Exactly, yeah. So that actually directly mentions Borley Rectory as a kind of a similar haunting, and it's a really similar setup whereby one kind of charismatic ghost hunter goes to stay in Hill House with his 4 kind of assistants, and they record everything that they find. And there's also a cold spot, which is another feature of Borley.
One of the other things that you've got in there is you've got the famed blue book that Price gave to the investigators. So can you explain exactly what that was?
Yeah, I found those really fascinating. So they were issued to every person that went to stay at Borley at the time that Price wasn't there all of the time, and they were kind of staying overnight. And it lays out for them everything that they should do and everything they should record, but it's incredibly leading. So it says things like, go down to this particular part of the garden at this time, and that's when the nun is said to walk. So as soon as you've read this, you're thinking, right, I'm going to see the nun.
I'm looking for a nun, which is the complete opposite of what you should send investigators in with. They shouldn't be primed for spectres at all, should they?
Exactly. And there's bits that say, be totally sure in your mind that something isn't the result of mice or kind of children messing around or whatever, but it's written in such a way that he really kind of wants you to just say that it's not mice.
He's setting a scene, actually, isn't he?
Yeah.
As opposed to it being a scientific document.
Exactly.
He's setting a scene for a phenomena.
Yeah. So, and it's no surprise really what results he got, and I found it really interesting looking through all of the archive, and there's letters to Price from the people that stayed in the house, and they do sometimes attribute what they heard or saw to kind of natural causes, but when he reports it, he always edits those bits out.
A little bit of spice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's not changing their words, he's just leaving some words out.
Exactly.
Right.
So, you know, he's a real artist at kind of creating the legend of Borley, I think.
Well, he came from a background of, he had an interest in magic anyway, and he was a salesman for a while. So I suspect that tension between his yearning for scientific credibility and being a showman and a conjurer eventually got the best of him.
And he really went to town.
He shot himself in the foot in some ways, didn't he, really? Just when people were starting to believe it, he started undermining his discoveries, really.
Yeah. I think the other person that I got really fascinated in reading about was Marianne Foyster.
Yeah. You could do an entire HBO series just on her alone. She's
definitely.
a fascinating character.
I love the thought that she might have kind of instigated a whole lot of this just to get her husband to move house because she didn't like the fact that there wasn't running water. It's like a whole
But sometimes she had more than one husband on the go anyway, didn't she? She was an extraordinary character. But, thank you for talking about Borley.
No problem.
And, it's fantastic seeing the exhibits, and I'm going to go get lost in the rest of the exhibition now.
Brilliant.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.